Welcome, everybody, back for another episode here. Today, we'll be talking about the Copa America and the Euros, two of the biggest soccer tournaments in the world currently. Let's just get started here. I will say I'm not an avid soccer fan, but when these big tournaments come around, I definitely do tune in to some of the games. I watched USA versus Uruguay, USA versus Panama in the Copa. In the Euros, I watched Turkey and Austria. So I wouldn't say I'm the biggest soccer fan, but I'll be here to talk about them. Now, let's go look at what we got here from the Euros. Quarterfinals are going to start tomorrow. We got some crazy quarterfinal matchups, and these are all on the same side of the bracket. So we have Spain and Germany facing off, and Portugal and France. And let me remind you, these are both on the same side of the bracket, which means winner of those two games will have to play each other in the semis, which that's just going to be a wild game. I mean, those are four of the best European nations, and like England and Netherlands are on the other side. Turkey also, very surprising. I don't know if this is 100% right, but this might be their first Euro. I'm not too sure, though. I know this is Georgia's first Euro, and Georgia, what a show they put on in Group F. Georgia, obviously, in a group with Portugal and Turkey. They still make it to the round of 16, losing 4-1 to Spain, but they defeated Portugal, which was a really surprising upset. They beat Portugal 2-0 and lost to Turkey 3-1 and had a draw with Czechia. So Georgia, for their first Euro appearance, this wasn't a bad one at all. And then a group that surprised me is Group E here. Belgium and Romania make it out of the group, but Romania wins the group. Well, they were all tied with 4 points, which is kind of wild. So it came down to goal difference, and it went Belgium and Romania were tied at one apiece. So I'm not sure what they do to break that tie, but Romania lost in the round of 16 to the Netherlands, which, I mean, the Netherlands are a good team, so I can see why they lost there. Netherlands are always usually one of the better teams in the like World Cup and stuff like that. So not surprised to see them making an appearance in the quarterfinals. It will be fun to see the two quarterfinal matchups on Spain's side of the bracket. And then you got England, and England, they play Switzerland, who got second in their group behind Germany. They had 5 points. They only won one game, so that's going to be weird to see. And England, they also only won one game in the group stage. They also had 5 points. So I think this will also be a really good matchup. You know, England, they beat Serbia 1-0, 1-1 to Denmark, and didn't score a single goal against Slovenia. And then they played Slovakia in the round of 16, which was a good game, 2-1. They got so they were down 1-0 going into the 91st minute, and then Harry Kane puts one in the back of the net in the 91st, and then Jude Bellingham puts one in the 95th minute, the 90 plus 5 minute. So not many shots on goal for either team in this one. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, England only had 3, but I'm not 100% sure how many Slovakia had. The shots, though, 13-12, Slovakia beat them there. And then England just controlled time of possession despite trailing a majority of this match. They had 63% of possession. I think the thing that gets me here is the fouls that Slovakia had and the corner kicks that England had. England had 9 corner kicks to Slovakia's 1, which definitely helped them. But yeah, so England almost knocked out in the round of 16, another disappointing performance possibly, but doesn't happen yet. I don't know if they'll beat Switzerland here. Uh I think it's on Saturday, July 6th. I'm recording this on July 4th, Independence Day. So, happy 4th of July to anybody watching. But England 43% chance at victory. So, we'll see if they can get it done playing the semifinals against either Netherlands or Turkey. I mentioned Turkey. Now, their tournament has been good. Obviously, the win over Georgia, I already said they won 3-1. Then they get beat by Portugal pretty handedly, 3-0, not scoring a single goal. And I just don't think they played very well that game. I mean, they just, I don't know what else to say. They just couldn't. I think Portugal was the more physical team. Portugal had more fouls, but I think that's what kept them in it. So, then they played Czechia, beat them 2-1. Then Austria. I watched this game. This one was a good one. Oh man. So they get the fastest goal in Euro history, I think it is. Yes. The first minute. And then they score in the 59th. And then Austria has a chance to score right towards the end. I think they're in extra time, if I remember correctly. And I think they had 2 shots on the goal, missed them both, and then Turkey had a chance to go up 3-1, missing that opportunity. But them in the Netherlands is going to be a good one as we see what the Netherlands did. They had a tough group. They had France and Poland and Austria. So they beat Poland 2-1, and then 0-0 draw to France. And then Austria beats them. So then they go into I think they were second in the group. They were second or third. They were third in the group. So Austria won that group, which is actually really surprising because now they're the first team in that group to be knocked out, which is kind of weird to think about, you know? But the Netherlands get by Romania 3-0. I also watched this game. Some late goals. They were up 1-0 going into the 83rd, get a goal, and then they get one in extra in added times. So this is going to be a good quarterfinals. I'm really excited to see what Spain's side of the bracket does. Spain, France would be a absolute masterpiece to watch. Germany, Portugal, Germany, France, Portugal, Spain. It doesn't really matter. I just want to see some good soccer, and any one of those teams playing each other will be some good soccer. So excited to see that. And then, if we look at the rest of the groups, you have Germany winning theirs, Spain winning theirs. Spain won all their games. England, Austria. Austria is the one that surprises me. This group was good. You got Poland with Lewandowski. The Netherlands, they have some really good players. They have Virgil van Dijk. And then you have France, who has Mbappe, Benzema, uh, Griezmann. That's a stacked group. And I wouldn't call it a group of death, but I'd call it a really good group because, 3 of their teams make it into the tournament, the knockout stage, and then Romania makes it, and Belgium gets second, but they had the same amount of points and the same goal differential. I didn't know what the tiebreaker was, but they lose to France 1-0 in the round of 16. So I just think Group C wasn't that hard for England, but then Group D was definitely a very good group. And then Group F, Portugal, Turkey, Georgia, Czechia. Georgia, obviously what I said, they were a come up team. Don't know how they beat Portugal, but they did. Definitely a wild one. I did not expect that. And then I got Copa America. These refs have been absolutely awful. Oh my goodness. So Copa America is a little different, less groups. There's only 4 groups, 2 in each group make it out to the knockout stage. Before I get into the US, let's start with Group 1. You got Argentina and Canada making it out. So Canada's going to play Venezuela, and Argentina's going to play Ecuador tonight. And then Group B, the teams making it out, Venezuela and Ecuador playing the teams in Group A. Group C, Uruguay and Panama, a surprise. Panama is in there. They'll be playing Colombia and Uruguay. Brazil is going to be a good one because for some reason, Brazil let Colombia beat them in the group after their 1-1 draw in the third game. Brazil just shouldn't have drew to Costa Rica, 0-0 draw there. So yeah, Brazil gets second, which is definitely a shock to most. So they'll be playing Uruguay, which should be also a very good matchup. I still got Brazil winning that one, even though Uruguay hasn't lost yet. But now let's talk about the teams that didn't make it. Group A, you got Chile, Peru. Those were kind of like you knew it was going to happen. Mexico and Jamaica. Mexico and Ecuador had the same amount of points. They both had 4, but the goal difference is what set Ecuador apart. They had 1 goal over Mexico. And then Group C. Wow. So Bolivia, they were out of it a long time ago. And then the U.S. has 3 points, 1 win, 2 losses, and a goal differential of 0, compared to Panama, who had 6 points, 2 wins, 1 loss, and a goal differential of 1. And then you get Costa Rica and Paraguay. I think those 2 were the ones that were going to get out. I mean, you could just tell. But now let's look at the most controversial thing that needs to be addressed. These refs in the Copa America have not been good at all. Oh my goodness. So the U.S. versus Uruguay, the refs were bad, but I will say that the U.S. needs to play more physical soccer. I mean, Uruguay was playing very physical, and they were just bullying the U.S. around, had way more shots. The only thing the U.S. had going for them is more possession. Now, this isn't even the match I want to start talking about. I should wait, okay? I want to go back to when the U.S. lost to Panama. I mean, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? Okay, so the U.S. goes into this game, should win. I mean, Panama should never beat the United States. Should have never beaten them, okay? But, you go out there, and then Tim Wee, I think that's how you pronounce it, gets a red card for punching someone in the face. So already we're down a man. So it's 11-10 out there. And then we score 4 minutes later in the 22nd minute. So I'm like, oh, shoot, we might actually be able to win with only 10 guys on the pitch. And then they score 4 minutes after that. 26th minute, Caesar Blackman gets a goal. And then we have yellow card, bunch of yellow cards, and then a red card on Panama. But before that, in the 82nd minute, Panama scores. And the thing I am so mad about is the coaching. The coaching is awful from Team USA here. They basically, the US, their coach goes, let's just take out some people and let's just try and tie. They go for the draw. They put defenders. They just wanted to hold the ball. US wasn't looking to score the rest of the second half. They did not score the rest of the second half because they weren't looking to score. They were holding for a draw. They wanted to draw with Panama. This should have been a win at least, but then they play too defensive, and I mean, Greg Berhalter should not. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but man, they were playing for a draw in the Copa America where they need points to win. I mean, this would have put them at 4 points after their win versus Bolivia. They would have been at 4 points. Panama would have only been at 1, and then Panama would have been tied with them after. I mean, the playing for the draw is so bad, and then having them score, not letting them. Obviously, they were trying, but I mean, why are you playing for a draw when you know? I mean, the U.S. should be beating Panama, I would say. I mean, no one expected this. They were heavy underdogs, and then the coach says, "Let's play the most defensive soccer known to man, and let's just basically give Panama an easy win." Like Panama, they're a good team, but they are definitely going to lose to Colombia. And oh my gosh, I don't even. And then, so now the U.S. only has 3 points compared to the 3 points of Panama. And Panama's playing Bolivia, which is the worst team in the group, obviously. They didn't win a single game. Panama is up 1-0 at halftime, while the U.S. and Uruguay are tied 0-0. And I think the goal differential was, I think Panama had 1 up. I'm pretty sure. Let me look at this. Panama was... Okay, no. So they were even in goal differential right now. So they're even in goal differential, which means the U.S. has to win by 1 more than what Panama wins by. Panama ends up winning that game by 2, which means the U.S. would have to win by 3. But we'll get into that in a second. So basically, Panama's like, we're up 1-0 at halftime. The U.S. hasn't scored yet. And then I can't remember what minute it was when, I think it was the 66th minute. And so the U.S. men's national team coach goes, they're winning 1-0. We need to score. Like, what are we doing? And then, like, 2 minutes later, we have Uruguay scoring a goal, even though Oliveira's left foot was totally offsides. So let me paint you the picture here if you didn't watch it. This is the offsides. This is his foot. It's blatant offsides, and the refs just don't go with it, I guess. I mean, it was clear cut offsides, so I don't know what was going on there. And I wouldn't say that the refs are like, I wouldn't say I usually complain about the refs, but in this sense, oh my goodness, that was awful. And then I feel like the refs just... So there was also this moment at the beginning of the game where a yellow card... So the ref pulls out his yellow card, shows it, right? And he just continues play, and Uruguay almost scores. So if... I couldn't imagine what would happen if he did score there, because... So he... Like, you pull out the yellow card, you blow the whistle, obviously. I mean, that's just common knowledge, I would say. And he didn't, and they just kept running, and he that was at like midfield, and then he's halfway down the pitch about to shoot on goal, and no whistle was blown. So I mean, I don't like the coaching by Team USA, but also the refs just weren't helping. Like, they just... I didn't like the refs. This was definitely a physical game, and I think the U.S. got outworked. I mean, obviously it was physical. There were 12 fouls on each side, but like, I just think the offsides is really what. But I mean, say U.S. draws there, they still don't make it because of that loss to Panama, because Panama won by 2. Even if the U.S. did score and Uruguay didn't, it wouldn't have mattered because obviously the U.S. would have only won by 1. Panama won by 2, so they would have still got eliminated. But I mean, to lose like that, and then Christian Pulisic went to shake the ref's hands after the game, and they did not shake his hands. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on in the Copa America. I don't think the refs have been good at all. I mean, especially that night in Kansas City. So, I mean, looking past that, Panama and Bolivia. Uh, so it was 1-1 at one point. Bolivia scored in the 69th, and I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, the U.S. actually has a chance. And then, so that game was like a few minutes ahead. So it was the 69th there, and it was like the 63rd. And yeah, the coach went 1-1, and then Uruguay scored, even though he was at least a foot and a half over that offsides line. But then Panama scores in the 79th and in added time. So just, I mean, it's in the past. You can't complain now, but really bad officiating from everyone in that game. But hopefully the officiating's better in the knockout stage, because I do not want to watch a game like that again. I mean, so I mean, I don't think anybody does. No one wants to watch a game that gets heavily, like, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, you just don't want that. So the leader in goals for the tournament so far is Martinez. There have been a bunch of red cards. I mean, I feel like these players are getting really physical with each other, and like, there's been a lot of pushing, shoving, fouls, I mean, there was literally a punch thrown in the U.S. game, so I don't know. It's been a physical tournament, so refs got a lot of work to do calling that kind of stuff. But if we look past that, you got quarterfinals, Argentina and Ecuador tonight. That's going to be a good one. I think Argentina is going to pull out the win here. Is Messi playing is what I'm wondering, because he didn't play in one of the games, I'm pretty sure, because of his like leg or something. He didn't play against Peru. So I don't know if Messi's playing, but obviously Messi makes a big difference. He's the best soccer player in the world. Okay, yeah. So he didn't play in those 2 games. Huh. Oh, he played against Chile. So the only game he missed was Peru. So, but Martinez went off against Peru, 2 goals in the 47th and the 86th. So I think this Argentina team could win the Copa America. They are very good, and they obviously won the World Cup. I think this Argentina team could go into the Euros and even win those. I mean, this Argentina team is just that good. And then you got Venezuela and Canada. This should be a win for Venezuela, but you never know. Canada's decent, so. And then Colombia, Panama. Colombia should win that. Uruguay, Brazil is going to be absolute cinema. I mean, their odds of winning are pretty much the exact same. You got 36% for Brazil, 34% for Uruguay. This is going to be a good game, and I think it's in Las Vegas, which I think the forecast for there is like 105 at least. So Good thing they're playing in a dome at Allegiant, but yeah, so you know what? I'll give my pick for the Copa America. I got Argentina winning it. And then my pick for the Euros, I'm going to go with ooh, Spain or France, okay? So whoever makes semis and wins semis in that side. I got to pick one. Let's go Spain since I've already seen France lose uh this tournament. But it's going to be a good one. So I got Spain winning the Euros, Argentina winning the Copa. Um Thank you so much for watching and listening to me rant about the refs. Um, Stay tuned for hopefully next week's podcast and watch the Copa. Yeah.